Okay, so ready for a deep dive into something kind of surprising.
Oh, yeah. Always up for a good surprise. What's on your mind?
Well, it's about the recent election results in the U.S. and how they might actually end up impacting the church.
Really? That's interesting. I wouldn't have immediately connected those two things.
Right. Me neither. But get this. There's been a lot of buzz around former President Trump's new cabinet picks, specifically Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary and Pam Bondi as Attorney General. And some people are saying this could be a game changer for religious institutions in 2025.
Huh. Okay, I see where you're going with this. Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring. We often think of politics and religion as totally separate spheres, but they definitely intersect in some unexpected ways.
Exactly. So let's break it down. What could these appointments actually mean for the church? Like, what kind of implications are we talking about here?
All right, well, let's start with Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary. He's basically in charge of the country's finances, right? So any decisions he makes on economic policies or regulations, those could directly impact religious organizations. You remember the whole debate around the Johnson Amendment?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Vaguely remind me.
Right. So that law basically says that churches and other nonprofits can't endorse political candidates if they want to keep their tax-exempt status.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Bessent's position on something like that could be a big deal for churches that are actively involved in politics.
Exactly. And goes even further than that. Think about tax laws in general, government funding programs. All of that stuff directly impacts churches' finances, their ability to run social programs, even how they operate within their communities.
Wow. I hadn't thought about it like that, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, a Treasury Secretary's decisions can have a huge ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh.
And then we've got Pam Bondi as Attorney General. Now she's the head of the Department of Justice, right? Which means she oversees all kinds of legal matters, including those related to religious freedom.
So, like, if a church felt they were being discriminated against, Bondi's interpretation of religious freedom laws would determine how their case is handled.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of faith-based organizations and their role in government-funded programs. Bondi's approach could affect how those organizations receive funding and operate within the legal framework.
Wow. This is a lot to process. It sounds like these two appointments could lead to some pretty major changes for churches in the U.S. So what does all this mean for congregations as we head into 2025?
Well, I think churches are going to need to be a lot more aware of the political landscape and how decisions made in Washington could impact their day-to-day operations.
So not just adapting to new policies, but maybe even stepping into the political arena a little more.
Yeah, potentially. And this might also lead to greater collaboration between different religious groups. If they're all facing similar challenges, they might find strength in numbers and work together to navigate this new landscape.
This is all really fascinating and a bit daunting, to be honest. What's one key thing you think listeners should keep an eye on as this all unfolds?
I'd say pay close attention to how Bessent and Bondi actually interpret and enforce existing laws that relate to religious institutions. Their actions are going to speak much louder than their words and will reveal a lot about the potential impact on churches over the next few years.
That's great advice. It's definitely a lot to think about as we head into 2025. This has been a really eye-opening deep dive. What are your thoughts, listeners? Are you surprised by the potential impact these cabinet picks could have on the church? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and follow.
Yeah, definitely let us know what you think.
All right, that's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.